Okay, so we got the initialization, it is working. We got this copy and opening, closing the wallet. What else? Okay, so now we go back here. So let's do this part: network, transaction count, gas price, and balance. So this is going next. So let's do the network selection. Network selection is just a combo box string. So it basically holds few items. You got like item 0, item 1. So those are not read from somewhere. I just tape it in from hand. I can switch between Polygon and Ethereum. And this combo network is a variable. So I can go here into graph and say, oh, I should have events directly here. So I got here on generate widget. I can do bind. And on selection change on opening. So on selection change, boom. On selection change, selection type. I don't really care on the selection type, I would say. Key press, navigation, mouse click, direct. Yeah, I don't care at all. Selection string item. I can do a switch on this one. And I can go here and I can just copy this text directly and say this is an option and this is an option. So I unfortunately don't have just indexes of the selection, just have the selected item string. So I can do things on those string and I can say get blockchain configuration. And now I have two configurations that I want to select. I want to select Polygon mainnet, which is the default one, and Ethereum mainnet. And I have a structure that I want to store. So let's promote this to a variable and call it blockchain config, just like this. So if Polygon mainnet, then store Polygon mainnet, and if Ethereum mainnet, then Ethereum mainnet. And I actually want to do this on begin play as well, if everything worked correctly, because this is my default input, default value, and boys, based on this default value, I want to do this. Okay. Change network. So we have network selection ready. So this one is working. So now let's go to transaction count and gas price. And those are very important functions that need to learn, because both of those are required to do transactions. So let's start with transaction count. This is just a string and this is the actual value. So for the actual value, we want to do a binding and want to create a binding. And we need first to get this value. So let's go to graph. Let's go here. So if this didn't fail, we want to do a timer by event. And in this timer by event, we want to say, I don't know, maybe every 2.5 seconds looping. We want to do a custom event and we want to say refresh values with a capital letter. Okay, so every 2.5 seconds we are refreshing values. So let's make a custom event and let's call this event refresh transaction count. So on refresh values, we want to run refresh transaction count first, and then we want to do custom event refresh. How is it called? You know what? Let's not make it an event. Let's actually just do it here, and we're going to make it a macro because we're going to be reusing that. So first thing is going to be the transaction count. Okay, so we already can type transaction count, and we have an it function, which is an Ethereum method. And we can do it with a callback where we have handle for an event of a callback, or we can do transaction count as an async function. So you have uncompleted, and this is exactly what we're going to do. So URL, we're going to get our blockchain configuration. We're going to split, and here we have the URL and other values that are going to be very important later, but now they are not. If you want to run multiple questions in parallel and you want to be able to recognize them, you can use the ID, but it is optional, so we can leave it empty. The address is the address of the transaction count we're trying to get. So our ETH wallet address that we generated, we need to query this one. And block identifier, so we got earliest, which means the first block in which any transaction for this wallet happens. So getting transaction count for earliest is ridiculous because it will just be 0. We can do latest, which is the current confirmed transaction count, or pending, which takes account also of the unconfirmed transactions. And transaction count is a very important function because it is creating the nonce that we are forced to use for any transactions that we are sending to the network. So the current nonce for any future transaction is the count of previous transactions starting with 0. So it can create various problems. For example, if you send 3 or 4 transactions in a row and they have incremental transaction nonce, and the first transaction from those 4 is not going to execute because of some reason, the other 3 transactions that are confirmed and should execute will wait for execution until the current nonce is being properly used. So for this pending loop, what we're going to do is we're going to use latest, so like the current one. And if it is successful, and only when it is successful, we want to say transaction count, promote to variable, nonce. And definitely not from this execution pin, but here. So this, we can say collapse to macro, and this is refresh transaction count. And we want to expose something. So this is using variable that we are setting. This is using wallet, which we are setting. So we just want to expose this. And we want to do this execution and call it success. So this is after the delay. This is an async function, and we are pushing forward only if it's successful. So we're refreshing transaction count for latest. We're going to use this macro later with a different setting. And after it is successful, we want to also do ETH price. So we want to do ETH gas price. And we're going to do the same. Get configuration that we stored already. We're going to split it, take the URL, and we're going to say unsuccessful, promote to variable, gas price. Okay, not this execution, and we are connecting this, and we are collapsing to a macro, calling refresh gas price. Gas price is a very essential variable that we need to store. And this is, by the way, stored in uint 256 value, and we need to store it for further transactions that we want to make. So only on success that we have stored this, continue. Okay, getting back here, and we want to promote this to variable, and we want to call it refresh timer, because we're going to pause it and re-enable it when we are conducting actual transactions, because we don't want values to refresh during a transaction. It can mess things up. So we're doing this, refresh values. Just doing this macro. So now if we go into widgets, we go into this value, we can say transaction count, bind, create binding, and what we want to bind to is value that we have created. Oh, I can hide this, which is nonce. I can just convert it like this. Yeah, and that's it. Gas price, okay. I want to also do binding, and I want to get our gas price, and gas price is UN 256. So we want to be able to read it, we want to convert it. So basically we need to go here, ETH value to decimal. So this will be most readable in, well, way is the lowest denomination. Let's read in Gwei. I mean, probably for the best. Okay, minimum digits is 1. Minimum fraction digits is, let's say, 2. And max fraction digits is 18 because it's ETH value. And let's convert this string to text. Okay, and let's test it. This should be working already. Tab, I can see my mouse cursor. Let's click it. Okay, transaction count is 0, and we can see the gas price. It is showing the gas price fully. So this is 30 GWei for Polygon network. If I go into Ethereum network, it should refresh. Okay, for Ethereum network it's just 5 GWei, but it is a lot more expensive because of how much Ether is worth. And you can see that it is being refreshed. And for this wallet, transaction count on both networks is just 0, which is absolutely correct. Okay, so those two values are already refreshing and working. We have this last update progression, so we're going to use this one as well. We want it to be animated and pretty. So let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. Okay, so it is called progress bar next update, and it is a variable. That's great. So we want to go to our event graph and can we just create a binding for it? Percentage, oh, there is a binding. Yes, let's create a binding. That's going to be the easiest thing to do. We just want to get refresh time, get refresh timer, and say get timer elapsed time by handle. How long has, okay. Okay. Get timer. I mean, I'm not sure if this is in percentage or this is in direct seconds. So let's compare it. Yeah, this is just 1 second. So the full time of the timer is actually this. This is the full time. So elapsed time and time remaining. And I can say if I take elapsed time and divide it by this combined value, I should get the actual progress. I think this is correct logic. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. It is working correctly. So now we have this. It is updating. It's looking a lot better. So let's go with the balance. Balance is the big one. And this is the important one. We're going to bind it to a value, but first we need to calculate this value and be able to calculate this value. So we want to go here and want to make a new macro that will be checking the balance. So there is an ETH get balance function as well. Nothing new, right? You can see the drift here. There's just few function with ETH underscore at front of it, and we just want to get our blockchain configuration and let's get it. Let's no not this no. Split structure bin, okay. Yeah, this one doesn't exist. So we're taking this. ID is still nothing. Account address is our ETH wallet address. And block identifier is what we want to say. So either latest or pending. Pending is the value that we are expecting, and latest is value that has at least one confirmation. You can of course even get value for a very specific block if you, for example, require, I don't know, 30 confirmations or something. But yeah, I'm just counting a single confirmation to be actually confirmed. And from the balance, oh, and by the way, if you break the response for any of those, you get full HTTP headers, body, which contains a lot of status and information, HTTP status, and the success information, which is also here. So success means that it has successfully processed the call and you got a response, but it doesn't mean that the response was successful. Like if you, for example, input an address that is valid, but it's, for example, 0x and just 40 zeros, you will get an empty response, but it will be successful as a call. So you need to be very wary of what you are doing. Or try to debug by reading the response actual body. But that's up to you, how you're going to do it. I know what I'm doing, so I don't have to be as, I don't have to tiptoe around it too much. So I can save this as wallet balance, not this execution pin. Thank you. Sometimes those helpers are annoying. So I want to connect this, and I want to collapse this to a macro and say refresh balance. And refresh balance, I'm going to want to call in different places, in different situations, success. And I also need to put it here. Okay, so now I can go back and I can say latest, yes. So latest confirmed, and I want to refresh balance as well. So now that I have the balance, I can do binding directly, or I want to save some computation power on the widget, not to refresh it 60 times a second. I can say that only once every 2.5 seconds when I read this balance, I want to say ETH value to decimal, or do to decimal string. I'm going to showcase both. So to decimals, so ETH value to decimal is rounding the value. So you can, for example, say this VEI unit, which is U in 256, display it as ether. And then I want to say minimum digits is 1, minimum fractional digits is 2, maximum fractional digits is, let's say, only 6. Not the full 18 that you have in the address. I just want to say 6. So this will be rounding down the last one. And this is the way of showcasing values that exchanges are using, for example. So they're giving you an rounded down estimate of your balance, and we can use this directly as string, or we can use this, which basically does the same. It has the same values, but instead of unit conversion from VEI to some specific ether value, we have a custom exponent. So the custom exponent for ether is 18. But why would I ever put it by hand, right? Why would I put it like, I don't know, 4? Well, because you can have a balance in U in 256, and this balance is not for the coin, it is a balance for ERC20 token. And token can have predefined exponent value. And the default exponent value for ERC20 tokens is usually 18, but it doesn't have to be. It can be 2, it can be 4, it can be 8, it can be anything in between. It doesn't have to be 18. So just keep that in mind, that this is an option, but you don't need it if you are working with exponent of 18. For exponent fixed of 18, this conversion is the easiest one to do. So let's do this, promote to variable, and say wallet balance as string. And let's connect this here and here. So this will be calculated only once. Compile, save, and I go back to design, balance, bind, create binding, and I just take this value I just created, wallet balance, and I just connect it here, and this should give me a beautiful 0, right? So let's see, tab, click, I am on Polygon, I have my address, I have transaction count of 0, I have the gas price, and I have my balance of minimum 2 digits, like I said, minimum 1 digit, as I said, and it is a balance of 0. So, you know what? Let's actually put some balance into this. Let's make a first transaction and let's put Polygon Matic coin into this wallet by copying this address, going to a new tab, and I'm going to put this tab here, and I'm going to open my metamask, which is my personal metamask. I'm going to switch to Polygon mainnet, and I'm just going to send to this wallet address 1.2345678.9. So this is oh, I made, well, let's make it like this. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 8 9. What? I can't make it like any exponent I want. What's going on? 1.234567890. Okay, let's just send this. So I got 9 digits after 1, and I just want to send it. Sending Matic transaction fee is just sub 1 cent, so I don't care. And let's just confirm it, and it is pending. If I go back to my game now, I can just wait for a refresh. Oh, and I got my balance, and yeah, as you can see, it is being cut down to only 6 first digits and rounded down on the 7th digit, just as I explained for it to display. But the value that I am storing is the full value, so I can display this entire number if I want. But this is like the estimate evaluation. It was very fast to do it. So now we have a method of generating address, which is an identifier for users. Local or remote, doesn't matter. We have a simple wallet application we can close and open. What else? We got transaction count, gas price, and selection of network. So in Ethereum, when it refreshes, you will see I have balance of 0. If I go back to Polygon, I get my old balance back. So now I have this balance, and this is actual money. This is in live network. This is no testnet. So it's stuck here, right? What if I want to get this money back to a wallet that is on an exchange or wallet that is in my metamask? And this is the task for the next video.